everybody. I'm Danishki and welcome to Learn with D. So today we are going to learn about the present simple. Okay. So first we're going to look at the uses. When do we use the present simple? And then the sentence structure. How do we write the sentence in present simple? And then of course practice, because practice makes perfect, right? Okay. So let's look at the uses. So first use is that we use the present simple to talk about actions that are always or usually true. Okay. Second is to talk about a permanent situation or actual facts that we know. Okay. And then the third one is to talk about a routine or a schedule. Right. So let's look at the first use to talk about actions that are always or usually true. This is like to our knowledge, it is true. Okay. For an example, John drives a taxi for a living. So we know is usually something that we know he usually drives a taxi for a living. Then it rains in New York in July. So this is also a fact that we know is true. And then finally, the moon goes around the earth. Okay. Now, let's look at the second use to talk about permanent situations or facts. Jane lives in Paris, where she's permanently living in Paris, right? So Jane lives in Paris. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. This is a fact, right? We know that the water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. And then penguins can't fly. That is also a fact that we know that penguins can't fly, right? All right, so let's look at the third one to talk about a routine or schedule. So routine is something that we do every day. Okay, as a practice, there are certain actions that we do every day. That's a routine. Okay. For example, we wake up at 6 a.m. every day. The train usually leaves at 10:30 a.m. on Mondays. So that's the schedule, train schedule. Okay. Then she eats cereal for breakfast every morning. So this is her routine. She eats cereal every morning. Okay. Okay. So now let's look at the sentence structure. Okay. How do we write the present simple? Okay. So this is what we call a timeline. So we have the present, the future, and the past. So the present simple falls here, right now, at the present. All right. So we have the subject or the pronoun, okay, and then we have the base verb, which is the action. And in some situations, we add a S at the end of the base verb, which I'm going to show you and explain to you further in the next slide. Right? So now let's look at the subjects. So we have I, you, she, he, it, we, they. So these are all the pronouns or the subjects in a sentence, right? And then, of course, we have the verb or the action. So let's take for an example, play, the verb play. So for certain pronouns, we just use the base verb, as they say here, okay, which is play. And for certain pronouns, we have to add an S, like this, plays. So I'm going to explain in the next slide for which pronouns we have to use the base form and for which pronouns we have to add the S. All right? All right. So let's continue to the next slide. Okay. So here we have a table. Okay. So the first column we have the subjects or the pronouns, which I mentioned in the previous slide. I, you, he, she, it, we, they. And then we have three different verbs. So we have cook, read, drive. Now let's read. I cook, all right? You cook. We cook. They cook. All right. So now note that I, you, we, they, we only use the base verb, which is cook. Right? Then let's look at he, she, and it. He cooks. She cooks. It cooks. Now, do you see here we add an S at the end of the word, right? Just for he, she, and it. Now, let's look at the next example. Read. I read. You read. We read. They read. And let's look at he, she, and it. He reads. She reads. It reads. Right? Okay, similarly, the verb drive. I drive. You drive. We drive. They drive. And then look at he, she, and it. He drives. She drives. It drives. All right? So now let's summarize that. Okay? So, like I said, I, you, we, they, we just use the base verb. Okay? But he, she, and it, we use the base verb with a S at the end. All right? Is that clear? Okay. So now let's do a little bit of practice. Okay. So I'm going to put a sentence on the board and I'm going to give you 5 seconds to write the answer and then I'm going to give you the answer. Okay. Yeah, let's look at the sentence. I usually blank. The verb is go to school by bus. Okay, so I'm going to give you 5 seconds to see if you can get the right simple present verb. All right, so let's see. I usually go to school by bus. Okay, did you get the answer? I hope so. Okay, then let's look at the second sentence. They blank play football every day. They play football every day. Did you get the same one? All right, very good. Now let's look at the third one. Sam blank like dogs. Sam likes dogs. Remember what I said? So he, she, and it, we put the S at the end of the base verb, right? So like becomes likes, right? Okay, so let's look at the next example, right? We blank have money to buy lunch. That's right. We have money to buy lunch. Because if you remember, I, you, we, they all have only the base verb, right? For present simple, right? So we have money to buy lunch. Okay, so the last sentence is Rose and her husband always blank come for the summer. So I'll give you a few seconds. Right? So Rose and her husband always come for the summer. Why? Because Rose and her husband, they, right? Rose and her husband becomes they. So they always come for the summer, right? So I hope that was clear and please practice at home. There are a lot of exercises that you can do. So I hope it was clear. And if you have any questions, please write to me in the chat, and I will definitely get back to you with that. And in the next few weeks, I will be putting out more videos of grammar structures and other English lessons. So I hope this helps, and happy learning. Bye bye.